The regular season has started on a legendary note as we got multiple great games such as the Lakers versus Timberwolves for sure, the Suns versus Clippers, the Pacers versus the Pistons, and there were multiple games where there were more blowouts than competitive games. On the footnote, there were many great moments, especially one that defied history. So I'm going to keep the intro short and sweet, and here it is, the biggest takeaways of NBA opening week. But first, Amen, say man. This is the Amen Show back at it again for more content. Make sure y'all subscribe. I post NBA content, turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss anything new from me. Anyways, get you a popcorn, chillax, and enjoy the vid. The first team I'm going to go into is the Los Angeles Lakers. The first game of the season against the Minnesota T-Wolves is where the first time ever where we see LeBron and Bronny playing with each other, becoming the first father and son teammates playing together on the same court. At first, it was surprising to me that Bronny would get into the game this quickly, but we all know that Bronny is going to play the majority of the regular season in the G League. And so in order for Bron to get the experience of having his son in the same court with him, might as well put him in the game as early as possible to make history. Now for LeBron, it is safe to say that his dream of playing with his son on the same court has finally came true. And as for the Lakers, they are now 3-0 by the time I'm making this video. Offensively, JJ Redick has been getting this team into the best position for them possible as far as the specific sets they run. There's a lot more ball movement. They are one of the best teams in the NBA in points in the paint, particularly because of Anthony Davis, who is by the way tied with Luka Doncic of leading the league in points per game with 34 points. And he's also shooting 57% from the field. And I know it's only 3 games, but Anthony Davis has looked like a monster and a potential MVP candidate and a Defensive Player of the Year candidate as well. If he continues to play like this for a long period of time, it might likely happen. And as for the other players, LeBron averaging 23, 7, and 7 on 51, 39, 77 shooting splits. Typical Bron numbers. Rui Hachimura has been very good for the Lakers lately. He has been a very reliable shooter from 3 and in the mid-range, and he has been a threat at finishing at the rim. He also been great at rebounding the ball, averaging 7 boards a game, getting them second chance points, and he has been very respectable defensively. And kudos to JJ Redick by utilizing him to his fullest capabilities. And then another guy I want to mention is Austin Reeves. He has been playing really well, being another offensive threat for the Lakers, a guy who can shoot from anywhere and a respectable defender as well. Despite all of these guys playing really well, a 3-0 start for the Lakers, which has never happened in a long time. There's some concerns with this team, such as their shooting. They had a terrible shooting game against the Timberwolves, shooting a putrid 5 of 30 from 3. But they have been shooting above 40% from 3 in the last 2 games, so it's been better, but defensively is where I have more concerns. I do believe that this Lakers team can have one of the best defensive units in the NBA, but they were at times lackluster defensively, only having an 18th defensive rating. Lakers definitely need to improve on that, especially what we've seen in the last minutes of the first half against the Kings. But anyways, Lakers looked much improved under JJ Redick, and if they can fix things on the defensive side of the ball and also make other moves later in the season, such as trading D'Angelo Russell, then the Lakers could possibly put themselves into dark horse finals contention discussions. Let's move on to the Boston Celtics. They are also 3-0 and they have picked up where they started. The first game of the season is where they tied for the most 3-pointers in the game with 29. They have been dominant offensively and currently have the best offensive rating in the whole entire NBA. Defensively, they have been coasting, but we all know that they will turn it up later on. Their start of the season keeps on proving why they really don't need Kristaps Porzingis right now. Because when Porzingis is on the floor, they look KD Warriors-like, especially how well they're shooting. Number 1 in every 3-point category. The main factor to this is Jason Tatum. Seeing how he was disrespected from NBA discourse, it makes sense for him to go off in the first 3 games of the season. Right now, he is averaging 33 points, 6 rebounds and assists on 55, 49, 68 shooting splits. I'm expecting Tatum to go off for an MVP level season and potentially compete with the likes of the Luka Doncic and the Nikola Jokic's of the world as far as the MVP race goes. And the Celtics go on another 60-plus win regular season. Golden State in the first two games has been blowing out teams by 40 points, all particularly due to Buddy Hield's back-to-back 20-plus point games while making an insane 12 out of 16 three-pointers. Moses Moody has been great off the bench, giving you 14 a game and shooting 39% from three. Both of them are, by the way, are outplaying Brandon Podziemski. And based on what Buddy Hield has done in two games, it's looking like Hield is a clear starter on the team. Defensively, they have been great, holding teams to below 40% from the field and below 30% from three. And most importantly, they have the second best defensive rating in the NBA. The addition of Kyle Anderson, DeAnthony Milton, and Trace Jackson Davis and Kevon Looney getting it down defensively, and of course, Jonathan Kuminga and Draymond Green, they have been lights out defensively. Now, it was against below average teams like the Blazers and the Jazz, but the way that Golden State has played in the last two games, they could be one of the more surprising teams in the NBA. The Cleveland Cavaliers have a 3-0 start. The Cavs have been going off cylinders in both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Donovan Mitchell is not playing too crazy. He's still averaging star numbers, but Jared Allen and Evan Mobley have been going off defensively. Both are averaging 2 blocks per game, and because of them, they have a top 5 defensive rating in the NBA. For Mobley, especially, he has been working on his three-point game, shooting above 40% from three, but on 2 attempts per game. He can be a reliable spot-up shooter and has proven that in 2 games. The only question is, can he stay consistent? As far as Jared Allen goes, he has been a dominant pick-and-roll guy so far, a lob threat and bucket getter in the pick-and-roll. The Cavs have been proving everyone that they are still a legit playoff team in the NBA because they are really good on both sides of the ball, having guys who can score, shoot, and play make, and also have long defensive guys who are versatile. The last major takeaway I want to make is the Phoenix Suns and how much better they are as a team since acquiring an actual point guard in Tyus Jones and a coach in Budenholzer who actually fits the dynamic of the team. They play a lot more cohesive offensively, especially for the big three, and almost top 10 in both offensive and defensive rating. Right now, they are 2-1, and this team could compete with anyone in the league. Is low-key a good retool by the Suns in the offseason? If they continue to play well, then it's going to be a tough matchup for any team in the NBA. And as for quick thoughts for other teams in both the East and the West, the Atlanta Hawks are 2-1, and it's all backed by Trae Young going off in both games. But because they're Atlanta, it's not going to last that long. And we saw that in that OKC game last night. The Dallas Mavericks had a dominant first game, all backed by Klay Thompson's performance, but lost against the Suns by 12 points because Kyrie and Klay Thompson and the rest of the guys has not played well. But still, it's early in the season, so they have time to figure all of this out. Denver is 0-2, and it's looking like Jokic has to carry a squad like he did 3 years back when he didn't have Jamal Murray for the majority of that year. Like I said in that Nuggets video I made a while back, Denver is going to struggle due to the lack of bench they have, and because of these last 2 games, it's looking like it's going to be the case here. But last but not least, the Houston Rockets in the last 3 games, they have looked very slow. They have struggled to make shots, and that is why they have struggled, especially in the first game of the season, where they choked a 11-point lead going to the second half. I know Ime is frustrated with how the Rockets has played recently. They just need to get their act together. Jalen Green is averaging 26 points per game, but he's shooting below 40% from 3, and Alfaroon Sengun has not had a great start of the season, averaging 16 points but on 38% shooting. Both of these guys and the entire team has been forcing too many shots and not enough ball movement. So the Rockets need to fix the offense in order for them to improve their record, because I expect them to be a playoff team this season. So thank you all for watching this video. What are your thoughts on this vid? Are there any teams y'all like to mention that have intrigued y'all? Let me know, and be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel for more NBA content in the future. Turn on post notifications, and that is all. Stay litty. This is the A-Man Show. Sign out.